Hi guys, so today it is time for our Smutathon Wrap Up. Yes, Smutathon is a readathon that is hosted by Gingery's Lainey and Riley Marie, and I will link both of their pages and Instagrams down below in the description box so you can go check them out. This is a romance trope readathon that took place from July 9th to July 15th. From midnight to midnight and whatever time zone you're in. And I could not, I was super busy, but I absolutely could not let a romance trope readathon pass me by. What are you thinking? So anyway, I am out of wine, which would fit perfectly, but today I'm drinking Grimm Brothers Brewhouse. It is Cultbuster Ale Snowdrop, and it's got a little Snow White looking woman on there. It is ale brewed with honey and molasses. It tastes like Budweiser to me. I'm just not a beer drinker unless it's frou-frou and fruit flavored. This read along had 7 challenges that were to read a book with a enemies to lovers trope, friends to lovers trope, second chance, fake dating, arranged marriage, stranded together, or a love triangle. Now, I did not read a love triangle one. I just don't like love triangle and I couldn't make myself do it. But let's talk about the ones that I did read. Firstly, I read City of Kings by Brie M. Lewandowski. This is a second chance romance trope. It is also a post-apocalyptic dystopian. It is set in this world where kind of the structure of the U.S. was kind of torn down and rebuilt, and all of the kings have, all of the cities have kings. I really liked the premise that the world was built in, and the writing was very flowy and pretty and poetic in places, which was unusual for me to see in an urban fantasy, but I actually really enjoyed that part. There were some things about the story that I really enjoyed. The world was really fleshed out, but there were some things with the plot, with the ending happened very quick. There was the big kind of start of the climax where our lovers were separated, and then it was kind of solved off screen, if you will, so to speak. So I would have liked to have seen more of that and seen the climax of the ending drawn out a little bit more. But I did like the story. There were some editing things, but that happens sometimes when you read any books. It wasn't a whole lot of them. It was just with tenses of words in some places that I noticed. But other than that, I really enjoyed the story. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. There was The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Now, I am probably the last freaking person on BookTube to read this book, but it feels the enemies to lovers trope, obvi. This story is about 2 people, basically 2 co-workers who just fucking hate each other. And it's snarky, and pretty much everything I read is snarky, and I know y'all get tired of me saying that when I talk about books I like, and I'm like, it's snarky and sassy. I just really like those kind of narratives. But it is. It's very snarky. It's very sassy. It's got these 2 co-workers that just take joy in nitpicking at each other, and while one of them thinks, that they truly just hate each other, the other one is that little kid, pride at the person you have a crush on in school type thing. And it's really cute, but I actually really liked it, and I kind of want to reread it. I just thoroughly love it, and it's full of tropes. It's tropey as shit, but it's one of those books that just so happen to kind of trip over all the tropes that you love. One of the characters gets sick, so the other one has to take care of him, and it pushes them close together because they end up, spending a lot of time together. It was full of these little tropes, but it just ticked all of the boxes and tropes that I'm a sucker for. So I was very much here for it. I fucking loved it. And now I'm trying to find all of Sally Thorne's other books, but she didn't have any more on Audible. She does have another one that I want to read, but it's not on Audible. So I will get to that. So that's 2 challenges finished thus far. This shit's really nasty, but I'm drinking it because poor people can't be choosers or something. Then I read Crash and Burn by Rachel Lacey, which is the first book in the Stranded series, which obviously filled the challenge of which obviously filled the Stranded Together challenge. This book was really, really short. And the problem with that, means that everything happened astronomically, like expediently, like rapidly quick. It was just boom, 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 boom. Which is a thing I have to be careful of when I read novellas, if it's not like one of those situations where it's like fated mate, so like Vampires, Werewolves, or etc., where I'll have to suspend disbelief. It was one of those things where I'm like, that happened kind of quick. Even though like being stranded together in a kind of a tough situation does allow for that, so you just kind of have to see where you fall within like your tolerance for that kind of a thing. But it was a really cute story. So in this story, the heroine, I think her name Isabel? I think her name's Isabel. Anyway, she is deathly afraid of flying, so she decides that she is going to conquer her fears because she wants this job, and the job is a promotion, and the promotion will call for her to go to different satellite offices and fly all over the place, but she's deathly afraid of flying. So she decides to accompany this dog basically on her freedom flight from the shelter she volunteers at. I mean, the dog is getting sent to a no-kill shelter or to be fostered, and she is going to ride along with the dog on the flight, and there's a CEO who volunteered his time in his personal plane to fly them. And that CEO is flying, and of course at first he's brash and kind of gruff, and he has no patience in the beginning for the fact that she's afraid of flying, but then the plane crashes and she's already got a fear of flying, so of course it gets pretty like standard tropey after that. It was really cute, but it wasn't my favorite of that trope, even with it being a novella. I just gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Then there was Act Like It, which is the first book in the London Celebrity series by Lucy Parker. So this one was like Saturday, and I was just looking. I had no idea. I was looking for another book because I had only finished 2, and I was just like, I can't go out like that. I need some more books to read for this Smutathon. I refuse to have this pitiful number. And then I saw the author actually tweeted that it was for sale for like 99 cents or $1.99 on Kindle, and I hurried up and snapped that sucker up because it was a hate to love trope. It is also a fake dating trope, and there are 2 things that I live for. Okay, so this one is not actually about movie actors, it is about theater, like stage actors in London. And there is, of course, the bad boy actor who is a grade A dick, total like male version of a diva on stage who just gets his way and does what he wants and talks to people crazy in public and etc. And his publishers come up with the idea, his PR team comes up with the idea to set him up with basically like the sweetheart, like the theater version of the America's Sweetheart actress. This lady is that. So his PR team decides that they're going to set them up, even though like she has no tolerance for him because he's an asshole and he is just an asshole. So they're thrown together and having to spend time together, and then of course they start to fall in love. But it was very good. It was very well written. Like, this man's comebacks are, to me, they were just fucking hilarious. Like, he's got that dry wit, like not snark per se, but he's got that very like, that if you aren't catching it, you won't realize how bad he just talked about you on the low kind of wit. It's very dry, very intelligent, but it is fucking hilarious. And he's just an asshole, so he has no qualms about telling you when you're getting on his damn nerves. And the heroine has no qualms about telling him when he's pissing her off. So basically, like, what they're supposed to be doing is not flat out like dating. They're supposed to be giving little hints for the tabloids that are always following him around, like hold hands, nudge each other, just be seen close together without ever actually confirming a relationship, to give people more buzz, boost up ticket sales for the shows that have plummeted because of his behavior, and just get people curious enough that they want to come see like their chemistry on stage and that kind of a thing. And then of course with all their play acting, they're forced to spend more time with each other and get to know each other. And then there is the fall that they have. And of course after this fall, of course, since Leah didn't trust anybody, something happens to where she ends up like inadvertently betraying his trust, and it all crumbles, and we get to see like them try to work that out, because this is not like a trustworthy, like he doesn't trust people like point blank and the period, none at all. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars and then immediately purchased the next 2 books in the series on Kindle. There is the Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. This one meets the Arranged Marriage Challenge. So in this one we have the Duke of Ashbury, who went to war, and basically a rocket blew up in his face and shredded this whole area code right here. The woman he was engaged to at the time was just disgusted by the new figure that he cut, even though he wouldn't let her see him for like a year until he healed up. She was just disgusted. She abandoned him, and it obviously left him with some internal scars as well as the as well as the external ones. So he is basically at this point just hiding in his little hobbit hole. He's not trying to talk to anybody. He's fine with being the like mysterious duke that hides in the shadows, and he doesn't want anybody to see him or look upon his face. Since his fiance has abandoned him, he has basically been very content to stay on his own, except for the fact that he needs an heir. So as he's sitting making a list saying these are the things he needs to get an heir soon, and then he can continue to like live on his own in his little darkened cave of an estate, but he needs to find a wife. And as he's writing this list of qualities he needs in a wife, a woman appears in his library in a wedding dress. Funny that. So as for him, his narrative is very like self-aware and very self-deprecating, but in a humorous way. So he very much acknowledges like that he's this dark and broody character, and he says it and he uses that a lot when he's talking to other people. So he'll say things like, I can't do such and such at this moment. I've scheduled a moment to sit in the corner brooding over my, you know, brandy, or etc. in a joking way. I very much love the snark between these two characters, and even though he told this woman, you know, we're gonna marry and we're only gonna be husband and wife at night with the lights out until I get an heir, and then you can go live in this estate with a kid and never have to look up on my face again. But of course, like, it takes 2 days before she's like, we're not having this shit no more. We turning on lights, I'm taking out curtains, we not doing this shit. And he's not having that. So they constantly like butt heads, but then they also have kind of like made this pact to sleep with each other every night, despite the fact that they don't get along, in order to try to get this heir. And then by the time she realizes she's pregnant, she starts to lie about it, because she's starting to have feelings for him and she doesn't want to be shoved off to this country estate. So it's a really, really, really cute story. I gave it 5 stars. Lastly, I read and just finished, this one kind of doesn't count, it doesn't meet a challenge, and I finished it today, Monday, so it's cheating a bit, but it is Any Duchess Will Do. This one I started Sunday and would have finished had I not had to go meet the movers to get the rest of my stuff. This one, the Duke of Halford has refused to take a wife. Like, he's not having it for his own personal reasons. He's like traumatized and in his feelings and such, and he's just not really feeling it. So his own mother kidnaps him and takes him to Spinster Cold. Now, Spinster Cold is exactly what it sounds like. This is a little hideaway town where women who are basically unmarriable go to live out the rest of their days in peace, or women who are members of, you know, the ton, members of the court or whatever, who just want to get away from the fuckery for a minute and not have to like deal with, you know, all these etiquette rules. Just go to be able to just do whatever they want, be as inappropriate as they want. It's this little town of women who either just like don't want to be around men or don't want to marry and whatever. And because of this, and because people know what they are, men who aren't marriageable either, or waited too late to find a wife or whatever, basically go to Spinster Cove and just like find themselves a wife out of there. So he's offended his mother takes him to this place, implying that he can't find a woman, when the truth is that he really doesn't want one, but he won't explain the reasons why to her. So to pay her back for all her meddling, instead of picking from all of the like baronesses and duchesses and you know, prince's second cousins and whatever, like the connected ladies, he picks the servant girl in the bar. He deliberately looks over all of these women who have presented themselves to him and picks the barmaid that just walked into the room completely unaware because she's late for her shift and she is covered in mud and sugar and all kind of other stuff. That just made me want to start reading this book immediately. And then there's, you know, the fact that he is now, not only has he agreed, you know, to this farce, and like, okay, you wanted me to pick a woman, not only would I pick a woman, you get to turn her into a duchess. So because of all his mother's boasting, he picks the most inappropriate woman, and then he pays the woman £1,000 to be as inappropriate as possible. So imagine this little backcountry woman that he picked up and has taken her out into basically in public in London and giving her free reign to be inappropriate to prove that she can't be made into a duchess, and it just is fucking hilarious. So now I'm on this Tessa Dare kick, and I'm trying to read like the rest of them. I also gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I just finished it, and I actually really liked listening to an audiobook a bit. I hadn't read some really, really good historical romances in a while, so I was really, really glad to find these, and they weren't rereads. So that is 6 books that I read for Smutathon, but I only completed 5 out of 7 challenges. And I did not read a book that fell into the love triangle category. But 6 books when I had so much else going on, and I was reading other books and reading short stories from indie authors and such. It's not that bad. I'll take it. But at any rate, those are the books that I finished for Smutathon. If you have read any of those books, I want to know your opinion down below, because I want to talk about them because they're great. And let me know what you read for Smutathon, because I have to go watch some Smutathon videos. I have not. I'm so far behind. But as you can see, my house is still a mess. All of my books, I've been unpacking more of them since the movers came, and this room is a shit show. But in the meantime, I will try to watch some Bookstagram and take it. I'll try to watch some BookTube and take it easy this week. You guys have a good week as well, and I will catch you later. Bye. This shit is really disgusting.